Good afternoon, everyone. It is the 24th of May, 2022, and I am still in Ottawa, Canada. And if there's any background noise still, my apologies for that. There's been construction going on for a couple of months now, right behind my house, and I have the window open sometimes, and so it can just be distracting. So, anyways, just bear with me. Lots going on, and this is the week where everyone is meeting up, or has met up rather, in Davos, and there's already some interesting things going on with Jack Posobiec, or I don't know how you say his last name, but anyway, he was detained, and there was no reasons given for the WEF, World Economic Forum. They're law enforcement people, and again, like when you just blindly obey orders or directives, then without actually questioning it, you don't actually get to understand or see if what you're doing is actually a crime. Because he's an innocent guy. He's someone that is on the side of freedom. He's on the side of on everyone winning, and he does things like travel to places like Davos, where he's risking his life and he's putting his own money into this and stuff like that, because he's trying to find out more of the truth and stop things from happening. The same things from happening that people like me are trying to have prevent from happening as well. And there's so many reasons why. And if you pay attention to things like hidden symbols and symbology, and kind of look at where they came from, and who created them, and get a better understanding of different languages, and see how and why they're very much related, regardless of where you go in the world. And got to question the planets, got to question our own atmosphere. We have to question the sun. We have to question the moon. We have to question so many things that we are not, and we're not because we're not able to. And for example, there's just the more I've studied the brain, the more I've studied human behavior, the more I've studied anatomy, and the more I've studied like sciences and medicines and things like that, and then natural ways of doing things, and experiencing life in a primitive way. Sorry. the more the more I he's so heavy. I see how there's a lot of misleading information out there, and it's designed that way. So, for example, like really, really complicated math, right? It takes someone with a lot of focus to be able to, first of all, like get a degree. But even degree, like there's hidden symbology in that as well. But yeah, so it takes someone that is able to work with numbers that are given to us based on a system that we were given anyways. We were given these things. And so it's almost like a never-ending story. Just see how long you can make this last, and how complicated you can make it, so that, like, again, once you get like to the high end, and the PhDs and the masters and all the other things, it's they've kind of like reinforced themselves by virtue of their algorithms, like into like a funnel, I guess, and where things are very aware to other people, they're actually really not aware of, and again, it's because of these reasons. It's tricky. It's just inherently designed that way, right? And so, like, for example, even with talking, a lot of people we lose focus so easily, right? And it's getting a lot worse. And again, this is why even with smartphones and the way we're learning, and not memorizing things, and not writing things down, and not doing the math ourselves, we're losing focus. And Twitter. See, this is like I'm not really on it all the time. I'm only on social media platforms because like I'm trying to spread this information, just to make sure that, like, I don't know, like that you can, like, there's more awareness, or maybe a different perspective of doing and saying things. And I was on this weird tangent of oh yeah, so like focus. When you're focused on one area, you're not seeing a whole lot of other things, right? So it's like you're literally burying your head in the sand. And so it's just really, really interesting. And oh yes, and then also with focus, that I even have to practice this. This is why things like meditation are really good, because you're forced to focus on something for longer periods of time. Because if you are able to do that, like we really do have really short attention spans, like it's like 8 seconds. Don't quote me on this, but because again, it depends on like where you get your information from. There's so many different mixed versions of the truth, right? And again, we can all fight each other about our own sides, or we can actually consider the other side and then realize that once we are more aware and we have like more focus and attention, the more we can figure things out. And we're still not. It's so interesting. And MK Ultra, Stanford Prison Experiments, Universe 25, The Truman Show. Anyways, like even with Hollywood, there's a lot of symbology and symbolism and Satanist, Freemason, like ancient cult kind of symbology and hidden meanings and stuff like that, and a lot of the stuff that they produce and all the stuff they produce. And yeah, it's just really, really interesting. And again, celebrities and leaders, politicians, they're either not aware of it or they're aware of it, and just because of how they were indoctrinated into a system and fed lies about unique heritages and lineages and bloodlines and all these other things, like just they're manipulated into believing these lies that again that keep them stuck and keep the real masterminds again without any blood, so to speak, on their hands. But they're again like the ones that are, like I said, that the pen is mightier than the sword. But yeah, yes, the pen is mightier than the sword, but there's something that's mightier than the pen, and that is this, or this, I guess, because depending on what culture you're from, the mind is considered to be in the heart, depending on and or for us it's the brain. But there are human beings that function fully well, and in fact actually are geniuses in various areas of the world, and they don't even have the gray matter. They don't even have a brain. They have like the spinal column, the fluid stuff, and so yeah, so there's strong arguments on that as well. So like, are we even being fed lies about like burning brain cells? Because even like the more science I look at that's uncensored, like I'm seeing that there's no correlation to like even like losing brain cells and impairments with your abilities, and I would argue even the placebo effect is very strong. So if you tell someone that something does something, for example, that cannabis burns brain cells, then it's gonna burn brain cells, right? Because you're literally, perception is reality. You're creating your own reality. You're creating that reality, and that's why the placebo effect is still used in science and medicine and things like that too. There's a reason for it. And yeah. Oh yeah, so like even like the Fibonacci spirals and sacred geometry and the golden the golden ratios and chakras. Like there's so many different connections with like the real physiology and anatomy of humans, and proper ways of functioning and achieving higher levels of awareness, which to me also means transcending hatred and fear and anger, like because this is what keeps us stuck in so many different ways. The examples again with like the chakras or the higher levels of consciousness or self-actualization, Maslow's hierarchy of that. It's all about hidden symbology. Yes, I know, for the people that listen to me on here that are getting what I'm really trying to say. I'll just leave this for you to this is like it'll be a hidden joke. Anyway, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, it's like when we cooperate and when we show each other compassion and empathy and understanding, these are things that transcend us too. It goes beyond our own needs and desires and temptations and stuff like that, and thinking of others, and not just other human beings, but all the elements, I guess, like, and all the species and creatures on Earth. But we're again lied to, depending on what culture you're from. It doesn't really matter about the reality of life, even with the shape of the Earth and the planets and the moon, and all of these things. And we'd be really naive to think that it happens in other countries and it happens to other people, but it's not happening to us. And I'll tie this with the science around the coronavirus. And again, hidden symbology in the name of that as well. Like I'll say it again, the Northern Crown. And tied to constellations, tied to different ancient cultures, and current ones that are against them from that. But yeah, it's all just interesting stuff. Sorry, I heard something. Anyway, ancient cultures. See, anyways, I go on these tangents. Oh yeah, but we are lied to from a very young age, and so even with Santa Claus, and again, there's so many different versions of who he is and where he came from, and Wikipedia is again, this is not something that should be used to actually do any research. This is again tied to basically Hollywood, if you want to call it that, or Universal Studios, or Warner Brothers, or like the media. It's media. It's just like Globe and Mail and CTV for Canada, and CNN and Fox for the US, and BBC if you're from UK, and Al Jazeera if you're from like more Europe and the Middle East and Eastern Asia. And anyway, I can go on, but yeah, like where we think that we are the right ones, or we think that our party is the right one, or that our beliefs are the right ones, and we have all these strong arguments. But I've been on both sides or all sides, and that's where I know where there's, again, it's like it's so hard to get out of that rabbit hole, and the deeper you go down the rabbit hole, like the more stuck you get, right? Unless you get out of that rabbit hole and then go into another one, you know what I mean, and then connect them all. I don't know, tunnels. But yeah, like the more you learn, because like again, I have questions now about protons and neutrons and electrons and positrons and cosmic rays, and why these rays affect us at higher altitudes. But and like, and what does that mean? And should, if like these cosmic rays, if they are damaging to us, like should we be going higher? And why, like this radiation, like that gets more, like, I guess stronger, like the higher up you go. I don't know. And then so it would make sense if you'd be like, you'd want to go lower. I don't know. Anyway, and there's so many different questions I have even about ancient structures, and why they have these lightning rods and these domes, or these roofing structures that have like electrical conductors hundreds, if not thousands of years earlier than the people they claim that invented them, or not invented them, or some people still claim that they invented them, but that they're the ones that became aware of the natural ways of controlling it or manipulating it for humans. Electricity, for example, with like the antennas and like the churches and old universities and schools and churches, and yeah, there's just so much more to like Stonehenge and frequencies, vibrations, and yeah, like even with electricity, like how damaging is it for our bodies, and is there this negative and positive electrical charge that can either help us or hinder us, and is tinnitus and all these other kind of like conditions that we have, and like spasms and seizures and stuff like that, because again, like we're electrical beings as well, is like the increase in these things, in especially around city centers, or where there's like large volumes of like electrical output or magnetic output, is there correlations there? Because like there's a lot more studies that are coming out there that, again, that there's strong evidence that suggest that it is damaging to our cells and it keeps us chronically inflamed, and so we should be managing that better, or being more aware of the types of electricity that we can have, and how to properly foster it and utilize it. But yeah, and even using water in a way that assists with energy, that can be utilized to help communities in a safer way. And if it means, again, like not living, as materialistically as we do now, in the the luxury that we have now. Everyone, by the way, even the people that are of these ancient cults or religions or organizations, societies, whatever you want to call it, occult groups, secret societies, I guess is what the common terms for them are, for English people. Even with languages too, like, again, like there's just so many hidden until you see it in all the languages, where like some languages are literally just like flips of others, and it depends on where you are. Like even with the interpretations of the sun and the moon and belief systems, it's just like the opposite depending on if you're from the north or the south or the east or the west. So again, I have questions about these things. Yeah, like so many questions, and people like me do get censored a lot, or people just don't, I'm just completely dismissed. And again, I understand that because we're indoctrinated to do that. And the more easily someone can dismiss someone's theories or arguments or explanations on things, again, this is they're the more MK Ultra, I guess they are. Because again, we're lied to at such a young age. Oh yes, even with Santa Claus, where even with again, there's a lot of religions that are tied to having ancient roots to different types of mushrooms, whether they be the magic type or other. With Amarita mushrooms being red and white, and like again, like a lot of ties to so many different cultures, traditions, and like even flags and stuff like that, and then hidden in plain sight. So like even in ancient Egypt and Sumerian and Babylonian and Christian and Islamic and Judaist and Satanist and Luciferian and Rosicrucian and all these, whatever, I can go down the freaking list. And again, yeah, because like, oh my god, just in Russia alone, there's like hundreds of cultures, and so like Asia too, like thousands, like. And with so many distinct variations and versions, and people of different skin colors and different eye colors and hair colors and different appendages and different blood groups, and short hair, curly hair, twins, not twins. Anyway, where was I going with this? Languages. Oh yes, so yeah, like just like languages that are like flipped depending on where you go, and so someone clearly did that for a reason, right? Someone created that and then flipped it, right? Mirrored it, and as above, so below, like for so many different things, I guess. But yeah, even with the Earth being a globe, we've never recreated a globe with water and earth matter and all of these atmospheric complicated designs, and anyways, we've never like recreated that, but we've done a nice, like, oh, here's a sphere, here's a globe, and here's the planets, and like we made them circular, and like in our science classes, and like just because you like make a ball and like draw like what Google tells you the world looks like is like it doesn't make it a reality, right? So again, like even with Britannica and like even like encyclopedias, these are tied to these ancient groups that like fabricated this stuff, or they were looking for a way to explain things, but I think that it definitely got misinterpreted for more sinister reasons or complicated, confusing reasons that I'm just too ignorant or unaware still to understand or know, which is likely the case because, again, the more I like look into a lot of different things, the more I know that I know nothing. But I'm trying to learn, because even with explanations of how electricity works and how magnetism works, on the global level versus the human level and beyond, like, it's just very interesting stuff. And I don't think that people even in the business question it enough. Like, I think they're so distracted with, again, like, memorizing texts and just like believing and trusting in like the books that they're being sold are real. But again, it's like, how can we still say that when you can take textbooks from like multiple different countries and compare them, and it's like there's so many different inconsistencies. And so it's just interesting. But I guess like that's where you have to be open to even just talking to people that come from different backgrounds, because like that's the only way I guess you're going to be able to like try to figure this stuff out. Like, people are taught like this quote unquote flat earth theory, and or they were even 100 years ago, and there's people that have been recorded and or interviewed, and like photographs shown like in their own textbooks of these theories. And so how can we dismiss those when they're just as believable, if not more, than the globe earth theory with how we have it figured out? Because even like the snow globe theory makes more sense to me than like the theory we have with that's on the outside, right? Like it should be on the inside, because then it's contained, right? It's not contained. It's not contained. Oh, anyways, he's behind me. He's fine. Oh goodness. Yeah, so mushrooms, they're seen in like even those like I forget what it's called, and I don't want to have the name incorrect, but it's like a symbol like this, but it's like a circle in Egypt, and then a thing like that. I actually have one here, and apparently like that's tied to or correlated to these mushrooms as well, and because they're even seen being like in people's hands and like and being fed to different leaders of Egypt and pharaohs and stuff like that, and also mushrooms being fed to religious figures in Christian religions and Islamic religions, and it's actually very obvious when you're aware of the symbology and you pay attention to these things, or you see these things for yourself. And I've been all over the world, and I was on my way to Australia before this pandemic number one, again, World War I, but again, it was in the like in the early 1900s, and then World War II was in the like obviously 1930s, 1940s. But anyway, that's just what we said it was, right? Like these are all just made up dates, and not made up. They were decided on. They were just these dates were decided on. Again, even the calendar. I have questions because like there's a lot of compelling evidence regarding what a lot of different cultures and countries say about the cycles of the moon, and about days in a month, and things like that, and 13 being like a lucky number, and which is the opposite of. So again, like whenever you see something as being lucky, like just know that it's unlucky somewhere else. Again, even with different words that mean really offensive things, I promise you there are different cultures and religions out there where it means love, affection, beauty, connection, love, luck, and very widely used. And again, this is why we stay stuck, because we like when we see the symbols, and we see the like what we've interpreted the meaning to be, we hold so much emotion and power into it, especially the social justice warriors. They're so entertaining if they weren't like ruining and destroying humanity. Again, this is why like I feel compelled to like make these videos, not to make fun of anyone obviously, but to just try to make people more aware of like what's actually going on, and try to give ways of being aware of it. Because like again, even breathing, when you understand just the carbon monoxide oxygen exchange requirements more and see why certain religions or certain spiritual practices are done a certain way, you understand that there's benefits and then also like negative aspects to it. And again, this is why like being more open-minded and then just like studying and observing the results is also important as well. And so seeing where some things like make me feel good or make me um, like feel more positive or look like again like more like healthy, I guess. These are the things that like you want more of, and the things that elicit like a toxic response or like inflame me in any way. These are things that my body's telling me to avoid. And so like just being more aware of our bodies, and when we're stuck in um, like consuming products that are so easily purchased and designed that way, but they're high in sugar, and sugar again, um, everything in moderation, but it's an inflammatory cellular compound that's like does inflame, it irritates the body. So the more sugar you have, the more chronically ill you're going to be, and the more in pain you're going to be, because it's very grindy. Like if you anyway, and yeah, and uh, some of these groups, these secret society groups, again, the hidden symbology between the people that wear the ties and don't wear the ties, and people that wear certain glasses to elicit trust and stuff like that, and to at least like a certain amount of people, like enough that matter. It's obvious to. I don't even know if they're aware of it, or if they're just being told what to wear, like by fixers that like help these people control them. Like I don't know if Bill Gates and Elon Musk are like if they're even aware of what they're doing and that they're puppets. Like I don't know, but or if they're just being like used because they've been brainwashed and or bribed, and or they both have pretty questionable pasts for so many reasons, and both have done and still do criminal things. And but again, higher levels of consciousness and higher levels of awareness, or whatever you want to call it, like once you know better, you do better. And so I would love to I don't know, I would love to. I wouldn't love to do anything. Like I would love it if they were more aware of just like the outcomes and the results of what they're doing, and just see it from a more like compassionate, empathetic way, like a truly compassionate, empathetic way. And you only get that by experiencing the same experiences that us common folk experience. Again, like with hunger, you're not going to say things like "let them eat cake" if you actually understand why people are starving, and what that feels like, and if you understand what it's like to live in poverty and being oppressed, or if you understood what it felt like to be lied to and controlled and manipulated, and then figure out that it was by the people that you were supposed to trust, like yeah, and then it gets muddy, right? And then you do criminal things, and so then you're stuck, and then you're scared because you think that like you're too far gone, I guess, to repent, which means just change your mind, change the way you are. Which change your mind also means it could be like again from the heart or the brain, but again it just means like changing your mind, I would argue, just makes you change the way you do things. And so once you do better, once you know better, you do better. And that's why I got out of the military. That's why I got out of relationships. That's why I got off, again, naked and afraid. That's why I don't have kids yet. These are all tough choices, and but we need to make them because that's life, right? But it makes me more, I guess, understanding of the bigger picture, because I've been on the gluttony side too, right? Like, and like the yeah, like all those things. So I see the benefits, sorry, of also living a life where you don't have to worry about where the paycheck is coming from, or where your next meal is coming from, or where water's coming from. All like yeah, like where you're not, like, is your shelter, you know, fortified enough? Like like I can understand and see the benefits of indoor plumbing, for example. Even till this day, I'm grateful that I have a home, you know, where I have, I was going to say clean water. I have access to water that's not killing me fast, but it's definitely chronically inflaming me. And I do filter it, and I have for many years. And I do add different minerals into my water, and try to get more alkaline sources of water that's less acidic. And anyway, things to, like, again, cause less inflammation, because that's what also causes us to be ill. Anyway, I didn't know where I was going to go with this video today. I just trying to get stuff out there just to see if anything resonates, and then maybe it'll get more people to feel inspired to, I guess, speak out or speak up on things that they question. And then again, because it's like the butterfly effect, just get it out there, and the more powerful means makes it more probable. So when you think it, it's not as effective as, I guess, writing it down or saying it out loud or saying it to another person, etc., like saying it to a group and then down the line. Anyway, yeah, again, just with the pandemic stuff, like they're already, again, I need to spell this stuff out. They've called pandemic the recent 2019 one pandemic number 1, even though there's been so many more pandemics throughout recorded history. And so why are we calling it pandemic 1? Like, this is, again, this is ego. This is manipulation. This is like mind control stuff. Even again with World War I, that was not the first war that's ever been in the world. Why do we do this? So many questions. Anyway, so pandemic number 2. It's just going to be the same thing. It's going to be forced inoculation of sorts, or therapeutics, whether it be oral or vaccine. Intravenous, intramuscular, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter, because it's the ingredients matter. Again, it doesn't matter which method they use, because again, there's even like microchips that they already admitted that they're putting in oral medications and pill form, and they've already been in the vaccines. Not the vaccines, like I'm not saying the one that you took, you know, I'm just saying in at least in experimental research that they've shared with us, they've done it. So yeah, interesting stuff. And so how do you prepare? You think critically, you see how you can best serve yourself and then your family. And that literally means breathing right, managing stress right, managing your health as best you can, and trying to spread more awareness to other people, taking risks in a peaceful way, and trying to become less dependent on things that are going to keep you inflamed or stuck. Because even, again, smartphones and social media, these are like, this is very toxic, over-consuming, and it can funnel you into ideologies and thought processes that are so focused on one small part of a narrative that you're going to miss a lot of the bigger picture. And I'm still missing so much of the bigger picture, clearly, too. But again, the more I question what I've been taught, even again, I'm attending Carleton University. Again, I have multiple degrees, and I did really well in philosophy. But again, with you know, chemistry and physics and calculus and advanced probs and stat, like whatever I've taken, it's just it's boring, and it's just complicated. And again, like, some people will stick with it and some people won't, and it's based on so many different factors. And and it's funny. And even with history and social studies and geography, like they are misleading. Again, even the maps that were shown, misleading. Oh, it's just so confusing to me. Um, but again, maybe I don't know. It's hard to believe that people would do the things they do if they, I don't know, felt like people like me. And there's a lot of people that think that like me, and that's like I'm talking about like the compassion, forgiveness, and understanding and stuff like that. But there's literally people that know that their own people are still involved in the reason why Indigenous people are separated from everyone else in Canada and the US and different areas, and why there's always countries that have at least one area, one province or one state or one country within, like the, the geographical region where there's different language, and then each area is fed different rhetorics about how evil the other language is and how much it's gonna like make you lose yours, and but why don't you just learn both languages, right? And that was my thing growing up too. I was in Quebec, and I just remember like there were so many, like it was just like the French against the English, and it's just treated so differently, and but I also seen like a lot of compassion and understanding, and people able to cooperate and get beyond like the barriers and try to communicate with each other, um, to yeah, to be able to coexist better. And so I thought it was like a lot easier to learn French and English, um, just to like navigate my way through. And so not just to limit myself to Quebec, because again, like the French, like even French in France is different. And so like why limit myself to one area that keeps me stuck? And again, then I'm only going to be able to like learn and understand and know the very limited cultural and educational and scientific and medical and life and anatomy kind of rhetoric that Quebec is teaching, without knowing what even the rest of the provinces are teaching, and the differences amongst them. And this goes for political parties, it goes for media, it goes for, again, science and medical stuff. Like this is why it's just very interesting to me. Religions and things like that as well. Like there's all these designed ingrained reasons why it's gonna keep people fighting and distracted, which again is like one of the first emotions we develop in infancy is anger and fear, and but then we learn things like you know um, love, appreciation, like being grateful. These are all things that you learn from um, getting beyond, again, like those lower chakras or those lower levels of awareness, and those lower level emotions. Because no one likes the annoying spoiled brat. No one likes the selfish person. Like, let's be honest, right? Um, and yes, we can understand where they're coming from and be empathetic and understanding and feel for them, but we also have to correct these behaviors, right? And not allow these people, not enable this behavior. um, yeah, it's just very complicated stuff. And yeah, where was I going with that? You know what? I'm rambling on right now, but getting into this war stuff, like this pandemic stuff, is just like this is just the new way of population control, or keeping people stuck, or giving people a reason to exist in their minds. Again, these people that think that we are the vulgar herd or the vulgar mass, which we're not. Like, you just give us like better, more well thought out information, um, and actually allow us to think critically and have open dialogue without being murdered. Because again, like even in some cultures, like if you even draw like a prophet, for example, and I won't say anything about it, do your own research on it. This people have been murdered for this, right? Children have been murdered because people weren't able to provide for them or support them. Children have been murdered for anti-aging stuff. Like it just goes down the list. And this is real stuff, and this is the reality of life. And why once you know better, you should do better, and why people are saying that, like, it's just better to be ignorant. But again, this, in my opinion, it doesn't help what's going on now. It could have helped if we started from scratch, but now we're just in a place where there's, a lot of people and we're all connected. And the answer to so many things is so obvious. And it's literally cooperation and honesty and being brave enough to accept that you might get in trouble or just step down. And again, people are stuck, and it's just, again, even doctors and scientists and lawyers that I've spoken to, engineers, so many different like psychologists, teachers, gurus, spiritual, advisors, and self-help people. And there's just a lot of things that can be pointed out that are so obvious. But for, like, why they shouldn't be so passionate, I guess, or so convinced that their theories are right, when, again, there are really good people and bad people. But like, there are good people that believe things because they're being intentionally or unintentionally lied to. And I mean, like, even with teachers, like my teachers that I've emailed, even at Carleton University here, I've never got responses back. And this is psycholinguistics, science, cognitive behavioral therapy stuff, yeah, like multiple other courses too, and just showing some concerns about the pronouns and how they can't be universally adopted, and how it just enables, like, narcissistic, egotistical identity politics, which is very, very harmful. And so in a science course, like, it's just not something that should be promoted or enabled, especially a psycholinguistics course, right? Like an advanced course in a prestigious university. Yeah, so I'll just leave the vent there, but I hope everyone has a great day. Honestly, it is a good day out. And like, I challenge people to, like, do even more research on bloodlines and blood and positive and negative blood types and in antibodies, and how, negative blood types don't even build up antibodies like people that have positive blood types do, and how vaccines work, or how viruses work, and how they do elicit certain types of responses in people, and how the body responds and reacts to these things, and how long it lasts, and you question everything. Anyways, take care.